Oh, there's Tamra and Joe.
Oh,
Tamra and Joe are here.
Oh, there's Tamra Judge. Oh, she's with Joe. I made it! Hello! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 19, Episode 4. And before we get into it, let me start off by saying that Jen is killing it. The way she had Tamra Judge running out of that restaurant, I said, chef's kiss. Now, Tamra, I want you to sit tight because the way I'm about to go in on you, the audacity for you to feel like you can say and do what you want to people. You have been so horrible for the 17 years that you've been on Housewives. And when somebody returns that energy to you, now you can't take it. That's not how any of this works. And if we're being honest, Jen went way too easy on you in that conversation. Jen could have and should have gone a lot harder, but she still kept it cute. And Emily and Gina, just sit tight because I'm also whacking y'all both. Y'all both tried it. You guys always try it in every single episode, every single season. My OC recaps are not complete unless I'm dragging you. And it is what it is. I've had people say that, oh, Brooke, you're just so mean when it comes to Emily and Gina. Just go easy on them. No, I'm not going to. They continue to show out, so I'm going to continue to show up with the dragging when it comes to the both of them because they get on my nerves. They should have been off of this show a long time ago. And if we're being really honest, they've never had strong storylines ever. But again, I have a lot to say. So without further ado, let's get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up the episode right where we left things off last week with the continuation of Katie and Shannon going at it at Heather's birthday party. So Shannon storms off. We see her going over to Gina and Emily. And Shannon says that she hates getting upset. So now we cut to Shannon in her confessional, and she says that the fact that Katie Janela was recording her, that's an automatic betrayal, and when you betray her, it's goodbye. Now, let me just stop for a minute, Shannon. Let me just get you together quickly. Although I like you, you will not sit here and act like what Katie's done was the worst thing ever. You have allowed Tamra Judge to play in your face for years. Tamra is straight up evil. The fact that you've had more smoke for Katie over Tamra says a lot. And by no means am I saying that what Katie did was right, because that was weird. But Shannon, let's not talk about betrayal and how you cut folks off after the first sign, because you've allowed Tamra to betray you multiple times throughout your decade on the show, and you always take her back. You've made allowances for Tamra, so make an allowance for Katie and her weirdo behavior. I'm just saying, like, let's be fair. So now you have Gina cutting in. I just said, oh my gosh, girl, shut up. You always want to insert yourself in something, like, be quiet. So she's like, you know, I was so enraged because she lied about something so small last year. So now Heather jumps in and says, oh my gosh, yeah, I know. Now, may I just pause for a minute? Has anybody else noticed that Gina's accent has gotten stronger over the course of time? Gina, you've lived in Orange County for what, over a decade now? How has your Long Island accent gotten stronger when you've been living in California for all these years? I just feel like Gina is always trying to do something to make herself relevant. And before anybody comes for me, I'm from New York, okay? So don't do that. Now, y'all know that I love a good party and I love a good spread, especially on the Housewives. So it's only fitting that today's recap is brought to you by Every Plate. Think you have to spend big bucks or tons of time in the kitchen to make delicious food at home? Think again. When you use Every Plate, you get restaurant level deliciousness week after week with recipes like crispy buffalo ranch chicken and the cheesy Mexican street corn hash. And you all know how much I love Every Plate. The meals that they have sent me have been absolutely phenomenal. When I tell you I am still dreaming of the Super Smash Burgers that they sent me a few weeks ago, just chef's kiss with those caramelized onions, the chipotle aioli sauce, and those potato wedges on the side. Heavenly. And y'all know I love a good burger too. And that burger was a 10 out of 10. You'll spend less on these flavor-packed homemade meals than you would on your normal groceries or at a restaurant. Cooking the same things over and over, up your dinner game in 30 minutes or less with Every Plate's clear, easy-to-follow recipes. Thanks to Every Plate's constantly rotating weekly recipes delivered right to your door, you'll always have the best answer to what's for dinner. And you know what's great about Every Plate? Not only is it a great value for your money, but the fact that you're getting quality meals and you have so many options to choose from. If you're a burger person, if you love pastas, if you're vegetarian, there is so much to choose from, and you can't beat that. What are you waiting for? Dig into these flavor-packed meals your household will love. New customers can enjoy this special offer of only $1.99 a meal. Go to everyplate.com/podcast and use code Brooke199 to get started. Applied as discount on first box, limited time only. So now we cut over to Katie talking to Jenn and Gretchen, and Jenn wants to know, how did this information get out in the first place? And Gretchen says because of Tamra. Tamra brought this up. Now, Katie, may I just tell you, I'm pretty sure that you watched Orange County prior to getting on the show. You thought it was a good idea to confide in Tamra, of all people, about a recording. That made sense in your pea brain. Tamra will sit there and lie to your face and say, oh, your secret is safe with me. And when the time is right, she will set you up to fail and embarrass you in front of the group. She has done that to every single person on this cast. So why did you think that it made sense to trust her about you recording Shannon? So I'm gonna need you to take some of the blame as well, because again, recording somebody is weird, and then to think that you would trust Tamra, of all people. So now Katie's upset and she says, so I'm gonna be blamed for everything that happened last year. And I said, well, yeah, pretty much. When you join the Housewives, you need to be strategic. You need to know that anything that you say or do will be held against you. So be very mindful of what you say and what you share. I'm sorry, Katie, but you really messed up when you told Tamra, of all people, that you recorded Shannon. That's on you. I think that Katie has all the makings of a great housewife, but she's going about it all wrong. She's making really stupid mistakes, and these really dumb lies are confusing. So we see Katie saying that she's about to leave, she's over the party, and she pulls her husband aside and she says, honey, it's time to go. So now, as she's on her way out, we do see Heather go up to her and she's like, oh, so what happened? Now, Heather, you could have kept that. You can't hide your disdain or your disgust for Katie Janela. It just gave very much like, let me just be polite and see how she's doing, but I really don't care. So Katie tells Heather that she was trying to talk to Shannon, but Shannon wouldn't hear her out. And Heather is so dismissive. She's like, okay, girl, let's talk about this another time. I'll see you later. So now we cut to Gina's confessional. I don't know why. We don't care about what she has to say. So anyhow, Gina says that when she first met Katie, she genuinely liked her. So to see Katie on the outs with the whole group, she feels bad for her, even though Katie does lie. I said, Gina, I've watched you on this show for what, 7 or 8 seasons? We've seen you turn on people. So even if Katie wasn't a liar, I can bet money that you would have found a way to turn on her anyway, because that's just how you are. You'll do anything for this Bravo check, even though you are allegedly the lowest paid cast member, allegedly. But still, you'll do anything for whatever piece of money they're throwing your way. But I don't believe that you feel bad for Katie. I think that you're happy that she's having a hard time because it takes the heat off of you and Emily. You're just happy to be somewhat accepted by the cool girls, that you're happy to see your friend be tossed to the side. So now we jump over to Tamra in the car. She's on her way to the party, and she has a +1 with her. Now, this +1 is no other than the legendary Joe De La Rosa. And for those who are new to OC, Joe is Slade's ex-fiance. If you watch seasons 1 and 2, then you know the whole saga between Slade and Joe, a hot mess. So now we cut to Tamra's confessional, and she says, when I asked Heather if I could bring Joe, she was like, oh my gosh, yes, bring her. And I said, of course Heather said that, because Heather loves the drama when she's not in it. And Tamra, you honestly think that the viewers are stupid. You know that you invited Joe to get under Gretchen's skin. Because of all people to bring, you bring Joe. And then when folks call you out on your BS, then you want to play dumb and get mad. And Tamra, you asking if you guys should say a prayer before going into the party. I said, girl, stop. And thank God Joe prayed and not you. Because you knew if you prayed, your prayers weren't even hitting the ceiling. I just said, Tamra is so full of it, and it's annoying how the majority of these women suck up to her every season. And that's why I'm so happy that Gretchen and Jenn are the only ones saying, no, we're not doing this.
No. And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
So as Tamra and Joe are walking into the party, they run into Katie and Matt leaving. Now, when I tell y'all I got my entire life, because Matt does not play about Katie. When Tamra was like, oh, hi, Katie, you're leaving? What happened? Are you okay? What's wrong? So Matt was like, stay away from her. I said, let her know. I am here for it. I know that folks feel like stay out of women's business, but sometimes it's nice to see the men step up and say, you know what, leave my wife alone. You've done enough. I was here for it. He didn't curse at Tamra. He didn't call her out of her name. He simply said, stay away from my wife. Was it stern? Yes. But was it disrespectful? No, it wasn't. So let's not go there about, oh, he shouldn't have said that. And no. Tamra playing dumb, acting like she's confused as to why Katie's upset with her. She always plays from the same playbook. It's getting tired. You know good and well that there was no reason to expose that Katie recorded Shannon. You did that on purpose. Let's call a spade a spade. So now you have Tamra saying, wait, so it's my fault that you recorded Shannon? Now, Tamra, nobody's condoning what Katie did, but if you see that the group has moved on and they're trying to be cool with Katie, why bring this up? You did that to start trouble. And before anybody says that, you know, Katie is a liar and she shouldn't have done that, you are correct. But if we're going to go by that logic of Katie should be getting all this smoke, then where's the smoke for what Tamra has done for over a decade? Tamra has been diabolical in trying to ruin people. So yes, what Katie did was weird. It was creepy, but let's not turn a blind eye to all the evil things that Tamra has done. If they've been able to forgive Tamra, they should be able to forgive and move on with Katie too. So Tamra is still playing this confused act about, you know, why are you getting mad at me? And then she says, Katie, I've been nothing but nice to you. I supported you. And Katie says, girl, you called me a see you next Tuesday last year. Production plays the tapes back. And when they were in London, sure enough, Tamra did call Katie the C word. So Katie's like, Tamra, I've never called you a bitch, never called you the C word. So what are you really saying? So one thing about it, Tamra is the queen of deflection. She's like, no, you haven't done that, but you have called bloggers to plant stories out there. And I said, okay, and so have you. When I tell y'all, Tamra would not stand a chance if I were on that show. Tamra, girl, the way I would light you up every single time, I would go down the list of all the horrible things that you've done. There would be none of this back and forth. I'd be paying you dust or I'd be reading you down because how dare you? So at this point, the conversation is over. We see Matt and Katie walk away and we have Tamra and Joe arrive. And Gretchen and Slade were both like, really? Gretchen says, Tamra walking in with my man's ex-fiance. Like, are you serious? That's real changed behavior. Then she says that Tamra loves to poke and poke and poke. Now, Gretchen and Slade, I just want to say, the way y'all handled this was flawless. Because when you guys went over to Joe, gave her a big hug, you guys are talking to her, I know Tamra felt stupid. Because you didn't even let her get the satisfaction of seeing you guys rattled. And also, Tamra, you're way too seasoned in the game to be pulling cheap stunts like that in the first place. Now, Emily and Gina, it's almost like you enjoy when I drag you both, because when y'all were off to the side talking about Gretchen's looks, you have Emily making a snide remark saying, oh, it's like she dips herself in formaldehyde every night. Then you have Gina saying that she looks like a 2003 Instagram filter. Now I said, if Gretchen or Jen started talking about you guys, it will be a problem. Emily, you're the same woman who cried for 40 days and 40 nights because of an oversized blazer in a fashion show last year. We didn't hear the end of it, but yet you want to sit up here and try to read Gretchen about how she looks dated. Gina, you can't dress worth a damn. We see the clip-in extensions taped in. You don't even have your extensions blended in right, but yet you want to say that somebody looks like an outdated Instagram filter. Really? Now, if somebody really went in on the both of y'all would be crying. I just said, it's just so funny to me how they can say what they want, but God forbid somebody return that energy and now they're sitting up there crying and playing victim. I said, I'm going to just leave it right there. But yeah, that really annoyed me, because why are we off to the side joking about a cast member's looks when Gretchen looks good? Let me just be quiet before I say something else. But yeah, I don't understand the logic or the reasoning when it comes to Emily and Gina. Now, when Tamra walked over to Emily and said that she just got attacked outside in the parking lot by Katie, I said, okay, now let's not do that. Yes, you and Katie had some words, but that wasn't an attack. And we've seen you be aggressive when you argue. So again, not too much. Now, across the room, we see Heather, Terry, Jen, Ryan, Gretchen and Slade talking, and they're obviously talking about the drama in the group with Tamra. You have Terry playing peacemaker. He's like, is there any way that you guys could get along? What if Tamra apologized? And Gretchen's like, absolutely effing not. So Terry's like, well, what if there is some changed behavior on Tamra's part? And Gretchen's like, oh, really? Changed behavior? But yet she's bringing my husband's ex-fiance to this party? Really? Now I said, Gretchen, I know that you and Slade feel like you're married, but that isn't your husband. And I'm sorry, Gretchen, I'm gonna always get on you for proposing to a man. I will never forget when you proposed to Slade in season 8. In the words of Nene Leakes, I wanted to take my eyeballs out my socket, put them in my purse, and drive home blind. Because, girl, no ma'am. Not in this lifetime or the next.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Terry and Heather both look pathetic to me, trying to defend Tamra. I said, really? Jen's not here for it whatsoever. She says, I get that, but when we've gone through things, she hasn't been compassionate. When they went through the whole loss of Slade's son, Tamra went in harder on them. Then she did the same thing with me and Ryan, bringing out the whole FBI hat, saying that our homes got raided. Like, where's our compassion? It doesn't feel fair. And I said, thank you, Jen. Remind the people. We're not going to sit up here and wipe the slate clean for Tamra because she's now having a hard time in life. Tamra has showed zero compassion, care, empathy, sympathy for any of these women. So now Jen goes on to ask Heather and Terry, why do they keep making allowances for Tamra's bad behavior? So you have Heather saying, you know, I just feel like you're so angry right now that you can't see the changes in Tamra. I said, Heather, Heather, let me just stop for a minute, right? Because I've always been a long time Heather Dubrow supporter. Ever since Heather came onto the show, I just said, love her down. But But between how she acted at last year's reunion and now her being all the way up Tamra's behind this season, I'm off of the Heather Dubrow bandwagon because, Heather, what are we doing? Do you not remember the seasons where Tamra turned on you? You know how evil that woman is. So why are you going to sit up there and try to gaslight Jen? You know that Jen is telling the truth. Heather, I know you didn't forget that 2 seasons ago, season 17, Tamra had the whole group against you. I'm sorry, Heather, but it's giving very much kiss ass. I'm scared of Tamra, and I just want an easy season. But we do see Jen approach Tamra, and she says, hey, Tamra, just wanted to say hi. I don't want to get into any confrontation here at Heather's, but I do think that you and I should meet up one of these days and have a conversation. And Tamra says, yeah, that will be good. So now we cut to Tamra's confessional, and she says, I don't understand what we would have to talk about. We've talked about everything, but my question for her is, why does your boyfriend keep attacking me on social media? Tamra, do you really believe the lies that you tell yourself? I really have to know. You know good and damn well that you started with Ryan. You lied on that man, called him everything but a child of God, but now you want to say, why is Ryan always attacking me? That's not the case, and you know it. Ryan let you know this is what we're not going to do. You are not going to slander my name, and if you keep doing it, I will sue you. I have my lawyer on speed dial. Try me if you want to. So now we see Heather giving a speech. She thanks all of them for coming to her birthday. Even though her birthday was a month and a half ago, I think they said it was 53 days ago. I said, well, hey, if she wants to celebrate it 6 weeks later, so be it. You know, we only have one life. Do what you want to do. But we get the cost of Heather's birthday, and it's 80 grand.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
I've said it before, I think that Heather is top 2 when it comes to the best parties and events across all the Housewives franchises. She always gets it right. Potomac, take notes, please. And Britt Edie, I know that you're no longer on Atlanta, you are no longer a housewife, but the next time you throw a party off camera in your real life, make sure that there is enough food for everybody. Now we jump on over to Gina and Travis. They're prepping for an open house. And I'm not going to hold you guys. We're going to skip past this scene. When it comes to Gina, I don't care. Gina is determined to shove her relationship with Travis down our throats. None of us are interested. None of us are invested. Travis is as dull as dishwater. And then the constant jokes about how big his balls are. I don't want that visual in my head. But I will say that Gina did answer my question because I've been asking for the longest time, does Travis have a job? According to Gina, they both work together. They started their own group called the Gated Group, and her and Travis have brought in over $10 million of business together. Glad to know that Travis is gainfully employed, but still, I have no interest in discussing their scenes. And one more thing, I rolled my eyes so hard when Tamra came over and they were all talking about Jen and Ryan. I just said, yeah, let's scrap this scene. Y'all could have left this out. It's bad enough that we see a scene with Gina and Travis. Now we have to add Tamra into the mix. No, thank you. So now we jump to a parallel scene with Jen and Ryan getting their bottom row veneers done. So Jen makes a joke saying that when it comes to being a MILF in the OC, there's a checklist. It's the boob job, tummy tuck, the Botox, the spray tan, the G-Wagon, and the handbag that she doesn't have. And I said, well, Jen, you could ask Ryan for a handbag. He's given you cars. He's allowed you and your children to live in his home. He takes care of your bills. So you might as well ask him for a Gucci or Chanel or a Louis or something. Go to South Coast Plaza and buy yourself a bag. So Jen tells Ryan that she has made plans to meet up with Tamra in a few days. So Ryan's like, oh, I didn't know that. What's the intent? So now you have Jenn saying that she's hoping to see some sort of change in Tamra. And I'm not going to hold you guys. Ryan has really grown on me because he was like, babe, I would love for that to happen, but don't be disappointed because I really doubt that that's going to be the outcome. Like, please don't hold your breath expecting Tamra to walk in as a changed woman. So now Ryan's like, look, I have to ask you, have you ever done anything personal to Tamra? Why does she hate you so much? So Jenn says, no, I haven't done anything to her. So then she goes on to add that a few days ago, Gina told her that Tamra's going around telling everybody that Jenn wants to be her and how she was wearing Tamra's old extensions. So Jenn's like, why would I want to be this woman? So then Jenn says, and I know how you always say that she's jealous of me, but I don't subscribe to that thinking. And now Ryan cuts her off and says, no, Tamra is absolutely jealous of you. And I said, finally, we have somebody saying it out loud because that's the truth. And Jenn, why are you being so naive at your big age? Unfortunately, in this life, if you have stuff going for you, if you look good, you have money, you are dating somebody with money, whatever it is, if you have something that other people want, you will encounter jealous folks. Tamra's actions, the hate that she has towards you and Ryan, it's giving nothing but jealousy and envy. But Ryan is correct. And like I said before, that's the real reason why Tamra and Gretchen will never be able to be friends, because Tamra is jealous of Gretchen. And until Tamra looks inward and gets that jealousy out of her heart, her and Gretchen will never be able to be good. And the same goes for you too. So now we jump on over to Heather, Katie, and Gina meeting up for lunch. And Katie's like, hey guys, Heather, how was the rest of your party? And Heather says, oh yeah, it was so much fun. Sorry that you guys had to leave early. So of course, Gina loves to just jump in with some bad news. And she says, oh yeah, Tamra told us that as she was coming in, your husband yelled at her. I said, Gina, shut up. You weren't even there, and that's not what happened. Nobody yelled at anybody. Matt simply said, leave her alone. That was it. That was all. Let's not put extra sauce on the story. So now you have Katie saying, well, no, that's not what happened. Matt did not yell at her. He just said, stay away from Katie. So Heather's like, rule of thumb, just have the husbands stay out of it. I said, Heather, don't make this into a bigger deal. All Matt said was, leave her alone. It's not that big of a deal. So here's where things get interesting. Heather's like, Katie, I have to ask you something. Have you met up with Kiki Monique, the blogger? And Katie says, oh yeah, we did have lunch a few months ago. It was when we were in LA as a group to do that event. So Heather's like, oh, okay, cool. She's really funny. She's really great. But I was told that you were contacting her to plant stories. So Katie's like, well, who told you that? And Heather says, Tamra. So now you have Katie saying, well, prove it. Now I said, now, Katie, this is why we all believe that you are a liar. Because had that been me being accused of that, my first response would be, no, that's a lie. I never done anything like that. I can show you the DMs and the texts and the phone calls. I can call Kiki Monique right now. I've never done that. That's just me though. When you said, well, prove it, I said, girl, this is why I have to stand back when they whack you from time to time, Katie, because you're not making yourself look good. And Katie, if you did call up Kiki Monique to plant a story or two, they've all done the same thing in this group as well. So you wouldn't be the first to do that. So now Katie says, I've never done that. And by the way, I've listened to her for years. I just love her. She's so funny. I think that she's a cool journalist. So now, Gina, here's where I'm about to really tear into you because, girl, how dare you? When you fix your mouth to say you shouldn't even be talking to these people, I said these people? What does that mean? Gina, let me tell you something right now. Don't you ever get beside yourself. Always remember that you are a third-tier housewife at best. You have never given us a legendary or iconic moment ever. Your 8 seasons on this show have been a complete flop. Don't you ever refer to bloggers or content creators as these people. And these people are the same ones who talk about the show, which helps bring in more ratings. Also, when 85% of all these housewives are now getting on YouTube and getting on Apple and Spotify podcasts, trying to get that podcast and Google check money, are they not considered these people too? Your castmate Tamra has a whole podcast now. That falls into blogger. So is she considered these people? But I said, girl, how dare you? You are one of the most basic housewives that we have ever seen across any of the franchises. And for you to say these people, absolutely not. It's just so funny to me how a lot of y'all like to be funny and try to look down on bloggers and content creators while also trying to infiltrate their spaces and get that coin too. It's also really funny to me how it's these people and those bloggers, but then you're in those same bloggers' DMs trying to spin the narrative when things aren't going your way on the show. You want the same bloggers to be on your side and give you some good PR to get the fans to like you when things aren't going that great. And these people making more than you, but I'm gonna just leave that alone. But I say, yeah, girl, show some respect. Because these same people help keep the lights on. And unfortunately, anytime we talk about you, good or bad, that helps you. The day that we stop talking about you, Gina, that will be the day that your job is seriously on the line. So be grateful for these people. So now we cut to Gina's confessional where she says that she really wants Katie to have a triumphant moment, but it's just really hard because there are so many lies. And then we close out this scene with Heather saying that she's been in Katie's corner the whole time. And I said, when? Heather, you were on Katie's ass for the majority of last season and this season. You have never seen it for Katie, and rightfully so, I get it. When she pulled that stunt about the whole paparazzi gate trying to embarrass you, I was clearly on your side because that was weird. But you never let go of that grudge. You made it clear that it was F Katie from here on out. So for you to turn around and say, I've always been in your corner, let's not. If that's being in somebody's corner, I would hate to see what not being in somebody's corner looks like. Now, the parallel scene with Shannon, Gretchen, and Emily meeting up to do some aerial flying yoga was cool. Baby, when I tell you that Shannon has to be one of the most uncoordinated people I have ever seen, she was struggling. I said, my God, Shannon. So now the yoga instructor hands them all these affirmation cards. Emily reads one and says, Gretchen, I think this one is really fitting for you. And the card read, I forgive anybody who's ever harmed me, and I peacefully detach from them. So now, of course, that leads into conversation about Tamra. So Gretchen says that she's not interested in trying to rekindle a friendship with Tamra, and that even if Tamra did apologize, she probably would not trust her. And I'm with Gretchen. It's no hate, but it's just, I could never trust that we could ever be anything more than just cordial acquaintances. You're just somebody that I used to know. When people show you who they are, believe them. And when Gretchen said, we have seen a pattern of behavior for the last 15 years and nothing's changed. I get that. You're not obligated to keep trying with somebody who clearly doesn't like you. Now we have Gretchen asking Shannon how she's feeling about the whole Katie situation. And Shannon says that she's good. She said what she had to say to Katie, and she's never going to speak to Katie again. So then she says that if Katie recorded her, then she has no doubt that Katie has recorded other people as well. And then you have Emily saying, oh yeah, for sure. I said, Emily, girl, be quiet. You just don't want to like Katie. You just want to kiss up to the cool girls, and that's Tamra and Heather in your eyes. So if they don't like Katie, you don't want to like Katie either. So now we get to the final scene of the episode, and that is the big meetup with Jenn and Tamra. So they're at the restaurant, and the vibes are already off. The tension is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. So you can tell that Tamra is already defensive because when Jenn started things off, she was like, Tamra, where did things go wrong between us? where did things go left with our friendship? So Tamra says, things went south between us at Katie's house last year for dinner. Because me and Ryan got into it, I admit that I was an asshole, but then you had Ryan calling my husband Eddie a bitch or a baby bitch, like he's not innocent. And I said, Tamra, what we won't do is rewrite history. At that dinner, you were in that man's face, calling him a bitch, calling him this, that, and the third, saying that he was broke, he was a scammer, he was a loser. Then Eddie was jumping in, cursing him out, also calling him a bitch. So it's okay when you and your husband tag team and call a man out of his name, but when he calls your husband a bitch, now it's a problem? You don't get to attack somebody and then police their response back to you. So for you to say that, well, Ryan's not innocent either, no, you started that whole entire argument. Ryan owes you nothing. You just want folks to shut up and take your BS. And that's not how it works. You don't get to say what you want to people, and then when they clap back, say, oh, that's not fair. How dare they say that? No, next time, shut your mouth. And I love how Jen wasn't hearing it. She said, Tamra, you went around town talking about the FBI and Ryan, and then you made up a lie saying that my home with my kids got raided. Are you serious? So now Tamra's like, no, you don't get to say what you want to people, and then when other people say something back to you, then it's not fair, then I'm the bad one. I said, Tamra, that's what you do all the time. You run your mouth, insult people, call them out of their names, then when they hit you back, then you play victim. Jen has only been responding back to what you said about her. So you have Tamra purposely not trying to hear Jen out, and she says, oh, okay, so it's okay for you to say that my husband doesn't have a job and doesn't make money. I still have pent-up anger about that. First of all, let me stop right here. Tamra, do you not remember how you kept calling Ryan a scammer, a fraud, a con artist all last season? You brought that FBI hat trying to have a cute key at his expense. So when Jen and Ryan hit you back with, oh, well, what does your husband do? Now you want to be upset? You called them broke, they hit you back and called your husband broke. And we all want to know, what does Eddie do? I remember he was a lawyer when you guys first met. Let me know down below. I don't care what anybody says. Jen was eating Tamra up when she said, okay, you know what? Let's go about this a different way because obviously that works better for you. So Tamra's like, don't be effing condescending to me. Don't talk to me like that. I said, oh, so it's okay when you do that, but when Jen does it, now it's an issue. Got it. So now Tamra says, I don't know who the hell you think you are, but you're not. And the way Jen was so smug, I was living. She was like, wait, what? What am I? Tell me. And Tamra says, well, you're acting like you're somebody who's so above people, like you told Heather Dubrow. Now, you know how I'm always telling you guys about the signs of a jealous person, a jealous friend, when they bring up past mistakes, trying to bring up your past to shade you when you've elevated. When Tamra said, well, that's why you got evicted, I said, see, Tamra's jealousy showed up right then and there. Jen going through a hard time like her eviction last year should not be a gotcha moment. She was open about it. She was transparent. It happened. It's over and done with. The same way Tamra was showing the pictures of what Jen used to look like when Jen has clearly had a glow up now speaks volumes. Be careful of anybody who tries to bring up your past as a gotcha moment to embarrass you. Well, let's go back and talk about how during the recession in the earlier seasons, you and Simon were struggling. You almost had to sell the house. It almost went into foreclosure. Simon had gotten let go from Mercedes-Benz. Remember that? The North remembers. I remember when you and Simon were also having financial issues. So not too much. And Jen really ate you up. She said, aw, does that make you feel better? And then you have Tamra saying, well, don't say that I'm lower. I said, girl, she can say whatever she wants to say. You've been so nasty and horrible and crazy. And the fact that you try to bring up her eviction as some gotcha moment, she has every right to call you whatever she wants to because you're hateful. So now you have Tamra saying, well, you got caught. And then Jen says, wait, you mean cheating? And Tamra says, yes. So now Jen says, you've never gotten caught cheating, Tamra? And Tamra says, maybe. So Jenn says, girl, I know all your stories. I know all your tea, so don't even sit here and lie. And now Jenn says, so you didn't cheat? So now you have Tamra saying, when I got with Eddie, I had already left Simon. I didn't cheat on anybody. So Jenn says, well, I did the same thing with my ex-husband, Will. I never said that I didn't cheat on Will. So now you have Tamra being smug, and she's like, so was this the first time or the second time? So Jenn's like, what are you talking about? And of course, Tamra starts taunting Jenn. She says, you probably don't want me to bring it up. So now we cut to Tamra's confessional, and a producer is asking Tamra, what is she talking about? And Tamra says that there were some rumors that allegedly there was another guy in the yoga studio that Jenn hooked up with. Now, Tamra, let's just say that that was the case. Jenn and Ryan were on a break at one point. Remember that? He was cheating, doing his thing. If she was also dating somebody else around that time, that's her right as a single woman. Why do you care? Girl, if you want Ryan, just say that. Tell the truth. The truth will set you free, I promise you. Miss Mamas, you need help. Why are we bringing up stale tea about whether or not Jenn hooked up with somebody else besides Ryan? So Jenn is so disgusted. She's like, I don't even know who you are anymore. And Tamra says, I don't care, but if you want to keep poking at me, then so be it. So Jenn is so over this, and now you have her and Tamra just going back and forth, getting nowhere. So Jenn brings up what she heard about Tamra claiming that she's obsessed with her, and she's like, yeah, you're going around telling people that I'm a single white female. And now Tamra brings up how Jenn had her extensions clipped into her hair and how weird it is. And Jenn's like, let me clarify something. I was at the salon right after you had left, and the hairdresser said, oh, by the way, Tamra was in the chair next to you, and we clipped your extensions in as a joke. That's it, that's all. So now Jenn says the fact that you want to twist this story up and make it seem like I'm beneath you is really something. So now you have Tamra saying, girl, stop. You bought a house 2 doors down from me. Then you went to my gym after you saw that I did that fitness competition. And Jenn's like, oh, please. I only went to your gym because it's a mile from my yoga studio. That's it. How dare you put yourself on a pedestal to make it look like I'm obsessed with you? Then she says, Tamra, you are so sick. Now, the way Jenn had Tamra gagged, when she said, oh, by the way, how's your therapy? So that's when Tamra loses it, and I said, Jenn, whack her again, please.
I'm just scoot on over and let you whack him. Get him again. Get him for me.
The way Tamra ran out of that restaurant had me yelling. She was like, I'm not going to take this. The old Tamra would have laid into her, but now it's her problem, not mine. Then she says, it's F Jenn. I said, bye, girl. You talk all that mess for you to run out scared. You've met your match, Tamra, and now you are beside yourself because the day has come where somebody has the balls to stand up to you. I really hope that Jenn is on you from now until the end of this season. But Tamra, the nerve of you to say that you don't know where you and Jenn go from here and how you want nothing to do with her. Nobody's missing out if they don't speak to you. If anything, their life is better. For you to act like you're hurting Jenn by not wanting to talk to her going forward, okay, and life will still go on. I just said Tamra is delusional, but thank God that Jenn wore her out in this sit down. I loved every bit of it. OC remains one of my all-time favorite franchises. They always have very strong seasons, and this episode was too good. But y'all, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening on the podcast. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.